So, um, like I said on Monday, Photoshop and InDesign, there's a lot of similarities to them. Who recalled what I said could be the difference between Photoshop and InDesign? I used an analogy of a painter and the kitchen. Which is the painter and which is the kitchen that assembles stuff? Second, yeah, InDesign. So InDesign, why is it the kitchen? Yeah, so this is where you bring everything from different places, bring it into InDesign. So InDesign, if you are making a magazine, InDesign is where you build everything out, right? If you're making like a newspaper, InDesign is also where you build everything out. Photoshop is where you do the creative stuff. InDesign is where you some creative stuff as well, but mostly just assemblage. All right. So, and you can, if you look at it, the interface is similar to Photoshop. It's the same. And most of the interface on Adobe is kind of consistent. They look this way, just that their workspaces are slightly different. But in many cases, they are similar. The tools are the same. So this is the interface for InDesign. To open a new page or a new file, you click on New File. If you have a project ongoing, or if you want to start with an image, which I don't recommend, you can do Open. If you have an InDesign project, you remember how I said for Photoshop, the Photoshop project file is called PSD. InDesign's project file is called INDD. So that's where it kind of saves a version of what you're working on. So you take it to a different computer, you can continue where you stopped. So you can open a new file, but let's start with a new file here. So when you click on new file, you choose your dimensions. So let us rename it. So let us call this practice. What's today's date? 11, February 11. So you can choose the dimensions if you want. You can choose it in different measurements. If you can do inches, you remember the 8.5 by 11, right? That's what we did for our magazine cover. You can also use centimeters. So it's just different measures, similar to like Photoshop. But for InDesign, it's often called the picas. That's the common like default. You can choose the orientation, landscape or portrait. But let's do for the newspaper, it's usually like landscape. But for our magazine, we're going to be doing portrait. All of these settings, you can change it even while working on the canvas. So yeah, that's our job. But just know that they are there. And when you click on create, similar to Photoshop, it opens up your workspace. You have all of your tools on the left and all of your panels on the right. The InDesign panels are actually fewer though. So you have fewer panels. It's a bit more manageable than Photoshop. So where are we? When you open a new file, choose the dimensions. You can always change it. So just make sure you rename it and then click on start or create new. You don't have to like figure that out right now. You can always do it later on. Now, if you look at InDesign, it automatically includes a margin. Every document has a margin. Even this paper I printed, it has like a margin on it. So why do we use margins? Who knows? Yeah. And yeah. Good. And yeah. Absolutely. So that margin tells you where your body of text is. But the margins, those lines there don't print on your final paper. If you want to preview what you're working on, you can click on W. You can preview it with when you start working, you can click on just W, it will preview it and go back to click on W and it would go back. So that's how you preview the what would come out as final print. All right. So as you're working, you want to keep previewing to see how the final look would be. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is pages, right? If you look on the right side of the panel, you will see properties. These are your panels, properties, pages, and CC libraries. Let's work with pan. You know how I said in Photoshop, most of these panels are movable. You can move them all around. You can move things around. You can bring them out. You can put them back. They are movable. So they are not stuck. And if you lose a panel, please listen up. If you lose a panel here, you can go to Windows and click that panel again to bring it back in. Or you can rearrange your workspace to essentials or to a new format and to return some of those things back to the basics. Now we know how to open a file and we know where all of our panels are. Let's talk about saving. Just similar to Photoshop, who wants to walk us down how to save? The difference between save a copy, save as, and just save. Who wants to go? Yes. A new file and save a copy. Save a new copy. Absolutely. So that's what it is. So that's something you should know. When you want to save as the new copy, you want to save as a new file, you can either save your document. So you know how on Photoshop we save it as a PNG. For magazine, what should be the format? PDFs, right? Because it's a document, so it's PDFs. So for Photoshop, it's PNG, but mostly for you can also print PNG if you want, but most of the times because it's going to print, you want to print it as a PDF, right? So PDF is the final form, but if you're still working on it, you want to save it as the InDesign version control file, which is .indd, all right? All right, so let's talk about pages. Unlike Photoshop, InDesign has different pages. You know how I said last class that the first page is the cover. When you open the page, what typically happens? You open two pages. That's how most documents are. You can choose to make it appear as one. You can choose to make it appear as a double, but on default, it will appear as a double, right? If you go bottom here, you can create new pages. So let's create at least 5 pages. So 4 pages plus the cover, five. Go down here, come down here and click. Let's create pages all. And then you can zoom in and zoom out if you want. Look at the zoom on the tools bar to zoom in and zoom out. There's a shortcut for zooming as well. I think it's say again. Okay, control minus and plus. That's good. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, there are other ways. I usually use like control space bar and then I will zoom in and zoom out. But like I said, in Photoshop and InDesign, there are 1,000 ways of doing one thing. So don't get stuck on one thing. Yes. Okay. 1 second. So because you're not on pages, so you're on the different panel. So go to pages and you will see it. Yeah. So create new pages. Let's create at least five pages. Good. Now the next thing I want us to create is where's my documents? The next thing, hold on, let everyone listen up. The next thing I want us to create is margins. You know how, because please everyone, your phone down. Please let's not get distracted. You know how on Photoshop you need the margins to know where your designs are. And last class we talked about alignment. In InDesign, if you're creating a magazine, everything has to look aligned and organized. You know how they are like grades, and if you look at the newspaper, everything looks in a good column. What you use for that in this device or in this software is that you use the margins and the columns because they are like everything you need to work. So you must put your margins and your columns first. Your margins are already there. Your columns are what we are going to put next. So when you go to layout on the top bar up here, go to layout, you will see margins and columns. Click on it. It will appear. The dialog box will appear. You can choose 2 columns or you can choose 3. Most newspapers do 4 because it's like landscape or for like a portrait. It's really 3 or 2. I prefer doing 2, right? So that's one way to put your columns. So let us put 2. Let us turn the pages into 2 columns. If you look at zoom into one page, you have to click on the page, just like Photoshop. Click on the page you want to work on before you zoom in. Click on the page you want to work on, and then zoom into it, and then go to page layout, create your columns, 2 columns. Now, if you look at the columns, between the columns, there's a space in there. That space is called a gutter. So for every document, if you look at the newspaper, there's usually a space between each of the text. It's called a gutter. The gutter is also next to the column. You can make it as big as you want it to be, or you can make it as small as you want it to be by reducing the number. So you choose your preferred size. If you want it to be very tiny, you do that. If you want it to be very large, you do that. So that's the column, right? And then you click on OK. So that's the first thing you should know. The next thing I want to talk about is frames. Frames are like the basic function in InDesign. Frames. Everything you do on InDesign is frame. Frame determines the text you put in and the graphics you put in. That's how frames work. So you know how on Photoshop you can just open file and they drop it everywhere. Frames for on InDesign, even if you're bringing the file, you have to decide what frame to put it on. So frame is like if you have to draw the frame first and it to place the thing is either a text or an image. So how do we make frames? When you go to our text tool, come down to this tool here, or you can just click on F. F is your shortcut for frame, but you should know where it is. You click here, you see the rectangular frame. If you want a rectangle frame, which is the typical frames you would use, you will do that. If you want an ellipse frame, if you want a polygon frame, but you will for this class, let us use like a rectangular frame. So if I wanted to make, please look up now. If I wanted to make a text box here, I could just select this box and leave on it. It will ask me, do you want an image? That line you see there, those line you see there is asking you, do you want a graphics or do you want a text? If I want a graphics, again, keep this in mind. There are thousands of ways of doing so many things. I'm going to show you 2 ways of making frames, but just keep it in mind there are a lot of ways of doing this. So let's say you've drawn your first frame and you want to bring in like an image there. You click on import, look for an image, and it will drop it on that frame. But you have to make sure the frame is selected. So that's how frames work. So when you draw a frame, you can bring an image. If you don't want an image and you want like a text, after you've drawn your frame, go to the text tool, click on the frame, look up. If you click on the frame, it will turn into a text tool. It turns into a text frame. Are you seeing that? So that's how you make. So it's either you put a text or you put an image or a graphic somewhere. So that's how you make a frame. So it's either you bring in an image or you bring in a text. But before you bring in anything, I want to show you something else. Please pause. Okay, pause. Let me show you something else. So let's assume, look up now. Pause with everything you want to do. Just look up. Let's assume we have this page, right? But our goal is to turn it into 4 sections of text or image. 4. So want something to be here, 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 and here. Or want to turn it to even 5. So want 2 columns, but maybe like 3 grids, 3 rows. There is easy, instead of drawing frames one after the other, there's an easy way to do it. So look up. When you click on the frame tool, select the entire margin box, hold it, don't leave it yet. If you select it, if you click on the arrow, the arrow button, like the up button of the arrow, it would add a new row. If you click again, it will add the second one. If you click again, it will add the third one. But for now, we just want 4. If you click to the right, it would add more columns. Are you seeing that? If you click to the left, it would reduce. If you want to add 1,000, you can add. If you want to reduce, and you make sure you're still holding it. Holding it as you've selected it, hold it until you're done selecting. You can now let it go. Again, draw the frame all through the canvas within the margin. Use the arrow tool to select how many columns you want. You can go back if you made an error. Go back, click on Control Z and go back. Go back for those who made an error. Control Z. Keep on clicking till everything goes away. Now start again. Draw it. Select on one page. You can do it on different pages. If you hold it, use the arrow tool. If you click up, it would make a row. If you click on the right button, it will make. So click on up now. Are you seeing that?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You click. Come back. Click on to the right. Click again. Are you seeing that? So that's how you make. Let it go. Yeah. Now, if you let it go, it will make 4. If you're struggling, let me know. I will come. So you are doing it across 2 pages. That's why. So you want to go back. Awesome. So go to select. Select in this page. No. Don't draw yours. Select on it. Make sure the page is selected. Good. Now go to frame tool.
Click on that. Now make sure it's within the margin. So start from inside of the margin. Click on drag it. Keep on going till you come to this point. Hold it now. Click on up. You see that? Click on right. Are you seeing that? If you click more, are you seeing it? Yeah. So when you're done selecting, you can let it go. You can take it back to like double. Oh, I think you already let. When you see this bar, it means you've let go. So let us take a hold on. Let us do it again, but let us make it four sections. So how many did you intentionally make? Okay, okay. Let me see. Good. So this is one. You made one. So instead of you, if you want to make four like I did, go back, Control Z. Now draw the frame again. Draw it and hold it. Draw it. Click on, yeah. Then hold it. Click on up. You see that? Click on the right. So this means add more rows, add more columns. If you click again, it's to add more. Have you seen that? So if you let it go now, it creates four. So how are you doing? Okay, okay. Are you good? You did it all right. Okay. So how are we doing here? Yeah, Kelsey, are you okay? How are you doing? So it's not fine. So when if you make an error, Control Z. Perfect. Now let's draw it again. Let's choose a page. Choose a page. Let's do it on the first page. Select the entire box. No, you're outside. And you don't have front consciousness. So make sure you select. Go back. Good job. Good job. Now make sure you select inside of the margin. Put it out. Then make sure cancel here. Make sure the dot is on the edge. Perfect. Yeah. Now drag down. Keep on going. Keep on going. Now go back. Hold it. Hold it. Do not click yet. Click up. Are you seeing that? You click right. You click right again. This will add more. If you want to take it back, you go back. Now let it go. That's it. Good. How are you doing? Great. So this means that all of this page, you can also, these frames are adjustable. So you click on to move it down. Click and move it down. Are you seeing it? Hold on. I think hold on. Let me see. No, you're good. Are you seeing it? Yeah, but and the frames are like movable. But let us do it right. Mm, let us delete this frames. Let us do it again. Frame. Select the frame. So you want to yeah, you want to set that at the edge. Perfect. Hold this. If you click on up, click on the right. Yeah. Click on again to show you see what happens. Are you seeing me? I can add more or you can now come back. Now let it go. Perfect. So but even if you did it and you didn't do it right, just remember this represents one frame. This represents another frame. You can delete this and just duplicate it here. It's the same. The frames are like movable, but this is like a quick way to like do it. Good. Yeah. All right. So now that we've created our frames, the next thing we want to do is we want to see if we can add content. So do you have a content you want to add? There are two ways to do it. Click on the frame that you want to add a content. Let's start on one frame. Let's start on the frame on the top left. Make sure it is selected. And then you can click on Control D, or for those who are using Mac Command D. It will ask you what image you want to add. Do you have any image on the computer? Check. Click on one frame, Command D. Just hold on, call to my attention. Consider go to the select, click on the frame. Now Control D. Now look for a file, go to downloads. If you have any file, go to documents. Let's see if there's any file with a desktop. There are no files in here. Yeah, yeah, I mean, you can go on, okay, there are files. So choose anyone. Choose a file that is portrait. You know, you have like a portrait. So look for something that could work as a portrait. I think everything there is fine. You could just choose anyone. It's fine. You know? Oh, choose one. Choose like someone that's something that has someone's face. Now, if you click on open, you see, it places it in there. But because our frames are too tight, it doesn't. So, do you want to reduce this to like 4 frames instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? So let us go back. Hold on. So let's do it again. Frame, select, hold it, hold it now to up one and right, right. No, now let it go. Perfect. Now let's go to the search. Let's click on the first one. Control D. Now let's choose an image. Let's choose one with someone's face. That's fine. You drop it in there. Now hold on. Just hold on. If you put your image and it doesn't fit, don't worry. Just hold on. Just don't struggle with it. Take it back. If you put it, I'll show you why it doesn't fit. And we are going to talk. We are going to talk about why. So if you put the image, it doesn't fit. Just don't worry. Just hold on. Take it back. You can always go Command Z or Control Z. Go back. Go backwards. So look up. I'm going to put an image that doesn't really fit. And you see what happens. The image is cut off. And that's fine. All right. Look up, please, everyone. The image is fine, right? You see that there's a knob on the center. The knob is asking you, how do you want the image to appear? Do you want to move it? Are you seeing that that knob is on the center is asking you, how do you want the image to look? Or do you want to move it to the side? However you want to place it. I could place it halfway so that it has some interesting effect. Listen up again. Listen up. A second thing to do is let's assume I want it to be on the entire top frames. And I just want to expand this, right? I can make it fit. Listen up. I can make it fit the page. I can decide to make the image fit the frame or force the frame to adjust to the image. How do you do that? You go to layout. Actually, you go to object. Go to object feeding. If you go to object and feeding and click fill frame proportionally, it would fill it correctly. You see, that's why I said even if you brought in an image, it doesn't fit, don't worry. So if you go to feeding, choose the other options and see what happens. So go to object feeding and see what happens with the other options. Choose and see, play around with the other options. Are you seeing what's happening? So it's trying to adjust based on the frame that you choose. But the one we typically would use is feeding fit to frame proportionally. So to try and get the image to the right frame and make it work. Right? So you see how now if you click on W to preview, all of those lines go away. You see your original copy. Are you seeing it now? You have a magazine. Does it look good? Right? That's it. That's essentially what we're doing on InDesign. So on InDesign, we're essentially just bringing on images, making it fit, and then bringing on text to make it fit. Okay, listen up again. Let me show us one other thing. If I decide I'm going to another frame right now. Let's say I'm using the frame at the bottom. Go back, if you previewed, go back to your canvas. Let's say I don't want an image. I want this frame to be like a box, right? How do we do that? Just like on Photoshop, when you go to fill, you can choose. So on InDesign, instead of using just colors, they call it a swatch. A swatch is like a set of colors that you can apply across all different pages. So it's the same thing as color or your color profile, but it's just called a swatch. When you come select a frame, you can decide to do stuff to that frame.
by adding like a stroke. So let us add a stroke to one of the frames. So let's make that frame blue and it's kind of filled. We can add a dark stroke to it. Let's make this black. Are you saying that? So you feel it. If you want to fill it with like a color, you can choose blue, you can choose red, yellow, whatever works for you. And then you can choose the stroke on the frame for which it would look like. You can increase the size of the frame. You know how we did this with the Times magazine, where we use frames to make it red, and then inside you can choose the fill to be transparent, or you can choose it to be a color. You can also choose different kinds of strokes. I can choose a dash line, I can choose a left, whatever line. You can choose a Japanese stroke, or whatever. There are different options there. You can choose different options if you want. Play around with it. You can also reduce the opacity of the frame, or you can bring it up. This is just like your typical Photoshop effects, right? So if you want your magazine, and let us preview, this is what it would look like, right, on the final page. That looks ugly, but I mean, just it's for the sake of learning. And then the next thing I want to show you guys is you can add effects to the frame. So let us select the image frame that we did initially. Make sure you click on it. If you look at the appearance, please look at my cursor. This appearance part here, there is an effects button here where you can click. You can choose different effects. So let us choose inner shadow. And I'll bring this down here. It would add, if you look at the image now, it has some shadows inside. You can choose outer, it will be outside. You can choose drop shadow, it will be drop. So these are just effects. You can play around with it and see. So let's say I want to do the inner shadow. I want it to be on the right side. You can just play around with it wherever you want it to be. If you want it to be really, really large, you can increase it as well. If you want a drop shadow, you can add a drop shadow. You can increase that, whatever you want to do. These are just effects. You can change the color of the shadow to like something yellow if you want, your choice, right? So these are some of the things you can do with InDesign to add effects to your image. So just to keep that in, in mind. Let us make the next frame a text. So the last frame, I can go to the text tool. Remember what I said? If you click on it, it turns it to a text frame. So I think I had something called lorem ipsum generator. Let me look for it. Ipsum generator. I'm just going to get a random text and just paste it there for the sake of this. Well, you can just type gibberish and just keep it there if you want. Let us add more. So, because I want to show you something with text. Let us add some more. So you see, I have my text button. If I click on W, it will preview it. This is what it would look like, right? So I'm adding text. Now, if you notice, please look up closely. Look up closely. You can increase the font of the text, change the typeface, the size. If you notice, please look up carefully. I want to show you something cool. I think I have just one page here, so I'm going to make a second page. Just one second. Let me create this second page. So now, if you notice, if you look at this part of the canvas, you will see that there's a tiny red button here. Do you know what that button says? Look up. If you look at, there's a red button here. It says that there's still more text. Tell me where to put it. That's what it says. This red button here. It says there's still more text. If you point me to where you want me to put it, I'll put it. So that's what it's saying. If you don't see it, it means your text is over. But sometimes, so I'm just saying so that when you put in your text and you realize all of your text didn't fit, it's essentially telling you there is more text. Find way to put this. So let us say I want to go to the next page. I will click on that red button. I'll click and make sure it's clicked. Go to the next page and drop it to the next frame. It will continue there and you can preview it. Can you see that? It continues somewhere else. So that's how you add more text to your frame. So what have we learned? You can put image, you can put graphics, you can put text. If the text is if that text box is full, it will ask you to continue somewhere else. If you want to continue it, you can continue it. Yes.
Like I see the red one there.
But go to your next page. So what is your next page? So you want to create like a new frame for the next. You can copy that. You can create like a new frame like we did.
Okay.
Yeah. So create a new frame, then click on the red button. You know how we said go to the F,
Yeah.
yeah.
Forgot you did like it.
Yeah. No, not from the top. Yeah, exactly. Inside of the margin. No, keep on going. Let's make it four. And then up. Right? Perfect. Now go to the red, go to the select tool. I will go to the select tool at the top. Z- Zoom in so you can see it properly.
Sorry.
It's fine. You can use the zoom tool just to make sure you're getting it correctly. But it's fine. You can use that as well. Click on the frame first. Now click on it. Now scroll down. Now if you drop it to that frame, are you seeing that? It's asking you for more. Exactly. So if you want exactly. So that's how you do it, yes. So do you want to add where have you copied text? Where did you get text from? So that's what? No, it's not gone. So you know how I said if your window is going to go back here, go to window, workspace, r- reset essential. Yeah. So whenever you're looking for stuff, you go to your windows, everything is there. Think of it as different boxes that are hidden different places. You just need to show, like, bring it out. Okay, you're good. How are we feeling with? So are we all experts right now?
I can make search.
How are we feeling? Are we like? And do you know the beauty of magazine? Magazine is like one page could be image, the next page. So in magazines, the frames don't have to be the same, right? On one page, it could be just text. The next page should just be image and some text, right? So magazines give you room, unlike newspapers that everything has to be in order, and that's what we're having you do like magazines. So that's kind of how you create stuff. I want to show you one more thing before we call it. Actually, let me show you two. So the first is what we call a compound path or a compound. Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called a compound path. What is a compound path? Look up, please. Let's say I have two frames, right? Here and here. I like the two frames, but I want to have an image that goes into both frames. But I don't want the image to cover, and I don't want I want this line to remain, right? You know how that effect where you're working on two pages and there's a line in between it, or like you're walking across two pages and you want that gutter to be white, the image just goes across. That's called a compound path. Let me show you what that is. So if I go to click on the two frames I want to merge, and then I go to object, I will go to path and make it a compound path. You see what happens here? It has turned those two into one frame, but it keeps the gutter. That's what compound paths do. And let me show you why it is actually cool. If I broaden an image now, if I broaden an image now, see what happens. You see how it kept the image where it kind of split it in the center. So if I want this image, look up, if I want this image to be at the center in this way, this is what I would find. You see how I used the line to break his face into two? That's just some. Now you don't have to do this. I just want you to know that it exists. So when you select two frames, you can even Select three, four. You know how in magazine the image goes across like different frames. You can select two or three frames, make them a compound path, and then put the text or the graphics on the path, and it would just show up in those paths. So that's how you use compound path. For those who want to be extremely creative, that's something you should do, but you don't have to. All right. The last thing I want to show you is, let us say we brought in an image, right? But we also want to add text to that image. So I will duplicate this. Let's say we want to add text to that image. I'm gonna make a new frame here. Please look up. I want to show you something cool, guys. Let's say we want to add an image here. Let me bring in an image. Where can I find a good image? Actually, let's use this the Steve Jobs example. Oh, not really. Sometimes the Steve Jobs example can be a bit dramatic. So let's use a different image. Let's use something we've done before. Um, okay, let's use something we've done before. I'm going to fit it into frame. And then I'm going to move it to the side. I'm going to use this knob here, move it to the side. Okay, actually, let us leave it. No, this image doesn't work. Let me use a different image. Please look up. I want to show you. This is what we call a text wrap. So when you start creating, you know how when you create an image, you want the text to be on the image, but around the image. That's what I want to show you. And that's something you're going to use essentially. So please pay attention. So let's say this is our image. I'm going to fit it so that it fits the frame. I'm actually going to make it bigger. Let's see if we can make it bigger. I'm going to make it bigger. Oh, my bad. It's a little bigger. And then move it to the side. Let's say we actually want to add some text to this part here. We can create a frame. Look up. This is a bit technical, but I'm just showing you so you actually know it exists. You can create a frame here, right? This is going to be our text frame. We copy a text. If you notice, if I click on the text tool, it's on top and it's looking not not really good. And you can even put the text behind him. And the text is hidden behind him. What can we do to fix this? If you click on the image, go to properties. Again, make sure the image, not the text. So you remember, I'm working with two frames here. This image is on one frame. The text is on a different frame. So click on the image frame, go to properties. You will see these options here appear, text wrap. If you click on the third one, it would fit the image with the text. Don't worry, it is still there. What it did, it kind of took it back. So to reveal the image, you go to Object. Thing is, oh, where is it again? So you go to Windows. When you go to Windows, you make sure the text wrap dialog box is out. Go to Type and detect edges, and the text will appear. But it's telling us the reason why it's appearing in this way is that, and this is something I'm going to show us because it's more advanced, is that I didn't really crop this image. If I had cropped this image, what's happening here is detecting that this part of the image is a graphic. So it's not letting me put text here. If we cropped this image properly, this text would come all around here and just fall around his shoulders. So that's one way to create a text wrap. Is to make it better, when you go to the text, to the object, and again, I'm doing this because it's more advanced, so you don't have to worry about it so much. But the reason why I just want to show you, I'm going to show you that something like that is actually possible. When you go to the object, um, what is it? I think is object, clipping path options. I can detect the edges. I can decide to crop the object and so that I'll allow the text to fall on the size properly. There are other things you can do here as well. You can increase for the text wrap, you can increase the amount of text that falls on his face. So you can increase the gap here. You use this option. So again, when you want to put a text that falls in someone's neck or someone's face so that the image remains but the text goes around them, you go to Windows, Text Wrap, select the third option and increase or reduce this to make it fall across him. I'm not using a good image to do this because it's a bit technical. I have to like crop this, but just know that this exists. So you don't have to always just do simple text. You can also have an image and have the text fall across the image in this way. That's possible. All right. So that's maybe again, that's more advanced. So you can use a different picture to even try. Actually, let me see. Okay, I think we actually done. So when we come on Wednesday, before Wednesday, I'm going to have a video for you. I actually like that. So yeah, that's good. So when we come on Wednesday, we are going to practice some. Well, actually, on Wednesday is more Photoshop. When we come next 2 weeks, we're going to spend the two classes, Monday and Wednesday, just working more on creating a magazine so that when you start criticizing your magazine by 27th, you know exactly what to do. From this moment, start thinking, what would my magazine look like? How many columns do I want to have? Go look up inspirations. Again, your magazine doesn't have to have exactly columns and text. Be creative. Look at different designs and see what actually works and see what you like and then create it. So what we just did is how to open file, how to save file, how to create frames, how to add object and text, how to do compound path, and how to do some text wrap. It's a bit advanced, but I just threw it in there so that you just have it. Questions? Are we good? Okay, I think we did a lot today. So let us save. Remember to save as an INDD. Did you take it up? Now, how do you go back to it? Exactly. So make it a practice, always save. Save on the computer, or you can save on the cloud. Make sure it's an INDD file because you are not done with it. Yes, make sure it's an InDesign document. It's an InDesign 2025 or 2024 document. Save it, and when you're done saving, if everyone is done, are you done? You went off. Now that's something you should always do. Imagine you're working on a grid magazine, you're done, and you deleted everything. What happens then? Luckily, I think Photoshop keeps a copy for you, so you might want to check and see if a copy appears. So go to your file. If it doesn't appear, then it's gone. But if it appears, lucky you. But it's fine. Like I said, imagine you're working on the magazine and you've done all of this work and you didn't save it. What happens then? It's bad practice. Exactly. So always save. In the meantime, can I have you guys get out of here and see you Wednesday?